Hi everyone, Miss Smith here,
And I'm Miss Good.
and we are here to give you a quick overview of word study.
And we're going to show you three things. We are going to show you kind of the development of spelling and what that should look like in two different parts of spelling. And then we're going to show you how we score their developmental spelling assessment and how they get their sorts. And then we will show you how to do a word sort with them at home.
So to start us off, we have a quick word study overview from our reading specialists, Miss Skesser and Miss Trombley.
Hi, this is Mrs. Trombley.
And I'm Miss Gesser, and we are reading specialists here at Madison's Trust Elementary.
We're going to give you a brief overview of word study. So word study is not just memorizing a word list that your child is sent home with, and it's not just spelling words. So what word study is studying the fundamental language. It's for everyone, and it should be fun and engaging. So word study is an active, hands-on approach to learning spelling, which is why your students have word sorts. The instruction is systematic, which means that it is in a structure of teaching and learning. It's explicit, so they're making word patterns and the sorting is clear, and they are taught by their teacher, the new sort. It is sequenced, so they learn skills in a specific order, which makes sense for spelling. And it is incremental, which means one sort builds upon the next one. So within word study, students are encouraged to construct and record their own learning. So they might have to write down their sort, add words to their sort. They're comparing and contrasting the word features, identifying similarities and differences. They are also using words and pictures. So that they can really examine and listen for the sounds that the words are making.
So some of the basic principles of word study and why we have students learn words this way is that we are looking for that sweet spot, kind of, we call it the zone of proximal development, and that's where students are using but confusing certain tendencies in their spelling. So this is where we look for that kids are ready to start being instructed at. So we want to build a strong foundation, so we mix known with unknown features. So your students may have similar or exactly the same spelling sort from the week before, and only maybe one of the parts of the sort has changed, because we're building on what they already know and then increasing their learning. And then students use the words. These are words that they are able to read. They need to be able to read the words in context, so in authentic reading, and then also we're looking for that transfer into their writing as well. Couple more principles about word study. We are wanting the students to look for overall patterns in language, so words that do match the pattern with words that don't match the pattern. We're also wanting our students to be able to sort these words by sight and sound. So with the picture cards, they're not really even needing to write any words. It's sight and sound with the pictures. And it's important to avoid rules like saying this is a spelling rule. We're not teaching spelling rules. We're looking for patterns in language. And the last tip is don't hide the exceptions. So there's always going to be an oddball that doesn't fit the sort. And it doesn't really help our students to hide that from them, but if they know that sometimes there are just words that aren't going to match the sort, that they can be on the lookout for those. So these are just some tips for you about word study.
So I'm going to show you what spelling development will look like if your child is within the letter name stage development. So this means that at the beginning, they might only be hearing beginning sounds. If they're spelling pumpkin like this with a P, then that's totally fine. We just want them to focus on hearing those beginning sounds. They will have sorts that have different beginning sounds, and then they are going to really listen for that sound and put the word under the right category. Eventually, we want them to start hearing ending sounds. So pumpkin would turn into PN. Eventually, they're probably going to start hearing the K in the middle. They're finally hearing middle sounds. Once they've reached this point, you might have sorts where they are focusing on hearing the middle sound, and that's what you can really ask them to listen for when they're sorting. Eventually, they will start putting vowels in, and that is a fun stage because that is the point at which they're kind of getting sorts with more words in it and less pictures. And then you come to here, pumpkin, they might start hearing that M, but they're not quite hearing the blend yet until they get down here and they've spelled pumpkin correctly because they're hearing that MP blend after they do the PU. And then by this point, they're probably done with letter name and they're ready to move on to within word. So when we go within word, we're less looking at them taking just a sound and putting a letter to it. Now they're starting to look at patterns of spelling. So leaves initially might be L-E-V-S because they are still just listening for the sounds and writing the letters down. And then they're probably going to start putting E-E because they are realizing, oh, there's 2 vowels in there, but they are mixing up what the vowels are. And then they move on and they do start adding that magic E because they're probably learning that skill. So leaves might look like this. And then eventually that we would, with sorts, be instructing them on the different types of vowels in the middle of words. And they will learn that for leaves, it's an E-A vowel pattern in the middle. And that's when they start spelling leaves like this.
Okay, so here's an example of a student's letter name spelling assessment. And basically what we look for as a teacher is not necessarily if they can spell the word correctly. If they can, great. They get awarded for points for spelling correctly. So when you look at the scoring that I did here on the side, if there's 2 tally marks, that means that they spelled the word correctly and they used the feature correctly. So when you look over here on this side, I highlighted the feature that they should have used appropriately in the word. So for example, for question or for word number 2, the student should have wrote the word ship, S-H-I-P. The feature that I was looking for was the SH. Were they using the digraph appropriately in the beginning of the word? So when you look at what the student did, the student wrote SEP. So what that's showing me is they are not developmentally ready to be using a initial consonant digraph. So when you look at the score as a total, which would be here, this is where the features are. So when we're looking at it, the student can do A, C, and D, which are here. Your initial and final consonant, short vowels, and affricates. But what this is showing me, the 2 and 3, is that this student is developmentally using but confusing initial consonant blends and digraphs and final consonant blends and digraphs. So some more examples of that is the word here, plan. So you have, it should have been P-L-A-N. The student wrote P-A and then stuck the L in there afterwards, or it's just the N. So again, that is your initial consonant blends. She did not apply it there correctly, so she needs explicit instruction for that. Next, over here, we have the final consonant digraphs, which is the word was dish. So she should have wrote D-I-S-H, but as you can see here, she wrote I and S. So again, she needs explicit instruction on doing the final digraphs. And your digraphs are the SH, your blends would be more of like the TR for in trip. So I'm going to do an example of word study homework for a picture sort that you would get from a letter name stage. And when you're looking at the sort, it will be in a piece of paper that your student or your child will be cutting out at home. So right here I have my headers of M, B, B, S, S. And the picture sort is going to have pictures that your child needs to sort by beginning sound, because developmentally that is where they are. They need some instruction on being able to hear the beginning sound in a word. So for example, if I look at my picture, my homework says to cut and sort my pictures, so that's what I'm doing right now. I already cut it, so now I'm sorting my pictures. When I pick up a picture, it's a picture of a sun. We want the students to be able to stretch the word and listen to the sounds that they're saying. So sun, and when you're stretching it, could be sun, or it can be very explicit sounds, s, n, or you can do both, sun, s, n, sun, so that you're showing your child that there's different sounds besides just the beginning sound. But what we're focused on is, can they look at this, say sun, stretch it, and then put it correctly under the beginning sound of s with sock. So then we'll go through the rest of the sort. So I have a picture of a moon, 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 would go here with m, I have six, x, six. Bus, b-us, bus. Now remember, we're looking for beginning sounds. So Am I putting the picture with the correct beginning sound? Yes. Mask. Ask. Mask would go with M. Boy. B-oy. Boy. Now here's the other thing. Your child might look at this and say, well, that's a man. If they think it's man, if they can justify that to you, then they can put that here for man. As long as they can explain to you what they thought the picture was, because we're not going to lie, some of the pictures are a little confusing. So if they say, if there's a picture of a road and they say street, as long as it matches the beginning sound or feature, then we're okay with that. But for this, boy, b-oy, boy. Sink, ink, sink. Mop, op, mop. So I'm going to go ahead and just stop there, as I hope you get the point by now. But then in your child's notebook, we ask that you write the word stretch. So in their notebook, let's say my whiteboard is their notebook, you can just write Monday, stretch, and then sign it. So we know that they worked on it. So for week 1, your child will be doing the same thing. They're going to be sorting their words or sorting their pictures by beginning sound, by ending sound, whatever the feature is that they're working on. And in their notebook, you'll have Monday, Thursday is where they're going to do something new. So you don't have to write the name or the days of the week, but I mean, it helps us. So Thursday, on their homework sheet, it says, think of new words to fit the sort and draw pictures of these words. So in my notebook, I'm going to have M, B, S. So just looking at the pictures that I have already done here, I'm going to think of another word that starts with S. So, what's another word that starts with S, Miss Hood?
Sit.
Sit. Sit. Okay, so here is a picture that I can do
See, I knew you could do it.
of someone sitting.
Yay.
Sit starts with S.
Beautiful drawing.
B, another picture would be maybe a ball.
Go Nationals.
Woo! And M, let's see, I think milk is in this. Yeah,
Milk.
milk is what is in
Milkshake.
there.
Ooh, milkshake.
Mountain.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, so they are going to think of new words to fit the sort. So we'd like them to at least do 2 for each one. If they want to do 10 for each one, they can do 10 for each one, but we want to see at least 2. So for week 2, on Monday and Tuesday, they'll be doing something a little bit different. So what we have them doing is, again, they're always practicing their sort. So they should be sorting their pictures, their words, based on their headers. For this week, for me, it would be M, B, and S. So then they're going to do their sort, and while they're doing it, we want them to pick 5 words, okay, so 5 pictures, and they're going to write down the letters to match the sounds that they hear. So for example, if I picked sun, okay, and I'm stretching, we've been practicing stretching out those words and listening to the sounds, sun. So if I hear S for sun and I hear N, sun, there's one word. Next one I have book, book. I hear the B, book. I hear K. Those are the sounds I hear. Mask, mask. I hear mask, mask. Those are the sounds that I hear. So I have sk for mask, book for book, and then for sun, because right now, developmentally, that's what I hear, and that's okay.
Okay, so now we're going to show you an example of what homework would look like if you have a sort that has some words. And sometimes they'll be all words, sometimes they will also have some pictures mixed in there as well. We will tell you if there are pictures mixed in there, we do expect them to be able to spell those pictures as well. So this is an example of if you have a word family and you're working on word families. So in this instance, the word families we're working on would be op, ip, and app. This is like we talked about when they are moving from just individual sounds to now they're trying to what we call pair up like a rhyme. So the end of a word would be the rhyme, op, ip, app, and then they are pairing it with a letter or a blend or a digraph at the beginning. So for example, this would be paired with a T at the beginning to make t, op, ip, k, app. This is wanting them to get a little more, a little bit faster with not just having to sound out every single sound, but they can start putting together the beginning and then putting together just two letters at the end, and they just know what those letters are. So this would be their headers. And then once you have their headers, then you go through the words and you put them where they would match with the word family. So ip would go with the sip word family. Hip would go with that word family as well. Plop has op, so we would put it there. You come to a picture, ip, so they need to know that that would be spelled with ul as their onset and then ip at the end, and they should know right away that that would be IP. And then pop, we would put that under the op family. Skip, I can go through this a little bit faster because you know we would have lap. I wanted to show you this example right here. I'll be honest, I didn't know exactly what it was. This would be a chance for you to ask the child, what's a word that would match a word family that we're focusing on that could go with this picture? So at first I was thinking lay down, sleep, and then nap. So that would go with our app. Once they have sorted, so Monday, they cut it, they sort it, and then on Monday you can have them pick 8 different words, and they're gonna write it in 3 different colors. So I'll just do one word for you. So they could pick the word, let's do pop since it wasn't actually a word. So they would need to know that they would have P at the beginning, and then they would put, I know we're doing it with 1 to begin with. So it would be their op family, so it would be op. And then they can write it in 2 more colors. So they would do that with 8 different words, and that would be their Monday homework. We also wanted to show you their Tuesday homework. Same thing, mix it all up, sort it again, and then it says choose 8 words to pyramid write. So pyramid write would look more like this. Thankfully, it actually kind of sounds like the word pyramid, and it looks like a pyramid, so hopefully that will help you remember. So you are going to start, and you can have them do their consonants in blue and then their vowels in red. So if, for example, they want to do the word snap, so they could start, write the first letter, and then they go down to the next line, and they write 2 letters. And then they go down to the next line, and you guessed it, we go to 3 letters. And then by the end, we want them writing all of the letters. So then we would have a pyramid, and they can pick 8 words to do this with. It can be 8 different words than they did the day before, as more practice. Wednesday, you're going to sort again. Choose 8 words to write the consonants in blue and vowels in red. So it's going to look like this, but they don't have to do the pyramid. They can just write the words 8 times with blue and red. And then sort their words again on Thursday. Choose 8 words, and you can give them a practice test. Practice tests, don't show them the word. So you can have these and take them all away from them. Remind them of the different word families that they're working on. You can tell them the word and have them write it down and see if they can immediately remember to put that onset. And then they want to just know that they would either put app, ip, or op at the end. So congratulations, you've done week 1 of our word study with this list. Now we're going to look at week 2. Now we'll get a little bit more into sight words as well. So we want them to be working on their sort. We also want them to be practicing those sight words that we sent home, because those are ones that we just want them to have memorized, and it just makes reading so much easier for them. So we'll start with Monday. They're going to sort their words again. And then thinking of a new word that would fit under each heading. This goes into the E that they can get on their word study test at the end of every 2 weeks. So if they can spell a word that wasn't from their list but does match one of the features that they're focusing on, then they can earn an E for their word study. So for example, they've sorted their words. They're trying to think of a new word that would fit under each heading. So what you could do is you could have them write their headings. And then, first night, just think of one word that would go underneath each. So like top, one that's not here could be hop. And this is fun. They could just go through the alphabet and think of first like letters that could go with the sound op and see if it will make a word. Sip, they could do the word slip, and that would be practicing even that blend at the beginning, it. And then cap, they could be doing map. So they can write that down in their word study homework for the first night. And then it says practice spelling sight words. So once they've done this new word, then you can move on and do some sight word things. We at school, we try to make it fun with sight words. We have them spell it with Play-Doh. We have them spell it, we put sand out and they trace it with sand. You could put shaving cream on like a cookie sheet. You could trace it with shaving cream. There are a lot of different ways you could make it fun. Sometimes you'll see them, they'll like tap on their arm, and there's lots of different ways that you can practice the sight words. Later on, we'll have you have them write them in sentences. You could even have them jump as they write them. Lots of different things to make it fun, and even the good old-fashioned flashcard way will always work. So then Tuesday, again, sort their words. Same thing, you're going to think of another new word that would fit under each heading. So if I come back, I thought of hop, slip, and map. We'll be honest, there are times that you might not be able to think of another word that would fit, and we even have that issue sometimes too. This is where nonsense words could kind of come into play. We will often make up a nonsense word, for example, dop, and we'll ask them which word family would that go under. Well, op, that would go under the op word family. And then you could ask them, well, dop, even though it's not a real word, how would you spell it? Well, you would put d at the beginning, and then you would put the word family op at the end. So even if you're struggling with their word study homework, you can't think of another word, go ahead and make up a nonsense word. And there's also always Google to help you if you need to think of another word and you just can't do it, because sometimes we can't either. So then Tuesday, you're going to go back to sight words again. So hopefully by this point they are writing them, they are reading them. You could have them pick 3 and use them in a sentence. Wednesday, sort their words. Wednesday, we're going to kind of let you take a break from the word study stuff, but you can have them pick 5 sight words and use them in a sentence again. And then Thursday, they're going to sort their words again. And this day, they get to glue down their sort, and then you can actually take the book at that point and give them another practice test. We are going to ask that you give them a practice test from all of their words, and then that will prep them for Friday when we take them, and we will prep them or test them on all their words, and then they can actually, you can practice giving them some of these nonsense words or these new words that you came up with and see if they can spell those as well. And that would be their weekly homework. So thank you for putting up with us through this video. We hope it has been very, very helpful. You will have access to it all year long if you feel the need to go back and watch us again, and it hopefully will answer your questions. You will get this home with you as well. It's a word study dictionary, so everything we talked about should be on there, and it has lots of fun examples, lots of descriptions as she's showing you. What did you want to tell them?
Oh, if you have any questions, please reach out to your child's teacher and we will be happy to answer them.
Happy spelling!